Hi boys, today we're going to make orange poppy seed bread, which you all have a copy of the recipe. This is the recipe, and on the recipe is a list of ingredients and then the directions on how to make the bread. And if you look over here, these are all of our ingredients that are necessary to make the bread, and it's separated into dry ingredients and wet ingredients. And then the other thing that we're going to need to make this bread are some cups and measuring spoons and bowls, and finally the pan to bake the bread in. So this is everything we're going to need to make our orange poppy seed bread. If you look at your recipe, you'll see the list of ingredients on the top, which we have all on our counter ready to go, and then on the bottom is our directions. Direction number 1 says to preheat the oven to 350 degrees. So we already set the oven on 350 degrees so that it gets hot and warm before we put our bread in. And you can read along with me. Says to mix together the orange juice, the milk, and set aside. So we'll do that now. So if you look at your recipe, we will need a 1/4 cup of orange juice, and we will need a 1/2 cup of milk. Here's our orange juice. And our milk. We're going to mix it together and set it aside. Direction number 3 says to, in a large bowl, cream together the butter, sugar until light and fluffy, and add the yogurt and the vanilla extract and beat well. So in our bowl we have our butter and sugar, and we're going to cream it together until it's light and fluffy. So now that we mix together the sugar and butter, we're going to add the yogurt and the vanilla extract. Now the recipe says that we need a 1/4 cup plus 2 tablespoons of plain yogurt. So here's our 1/4 cup. Here's 1 tablespoon. And here's our 2nd tablespoon. And we need 1.5 teaspoons of vanilla extract. Vanilla extract, this is 1 teaspoon. And this is a 1/2 teaspoon. Okay, so now we're going to mix that and beat it well. Direction number 4 says in another bowl, we're going to mix together the flour, poppy seeds, baking powder, salt, and zest. And if you look at the recipe, the zest is orange zest from 1 orange. So I prepared this ahead of time. Here's our 1 orange, and this is the orange zest, which is basically just the peel of our orange. And to make the zest, you just take a grater like this and you grate it and make the zest. And we're going to add that all together in this bowl. In our bowl, we're going to add together 1.5 cups of flour, 1/2 tablespoon of poppy seeds, 3/4 teaspoon of baking powder, and 1/4 teaspoon of salt. Together with the orange zest from 1 orange. Okay, so now just to review what we have in our 3 different bowls. In our first bowl, we have the orange juice and the milk. In the second bowl, we creamed together the butter and the sugar. And then we added yogurt and the vanilla extract. In the third bowl, we mixed together the flour, the poppy seeds, the baking powder, the salt, and the orange zest. Direction number 5 says to add the flour, which is in this bowl, and the juice mixture to the butter mixture, alternating between each and mixing after each addition. So we're going to add some of the flour, some of the juice into the butter mixture, mix it a bit, and then add the rest of it and mix it again until we have our final batter. So now I'm going to add some of our flour mixture in with our butter mixture. And I'm going to add some of our juice mixture to the flour and the butter mixture. I'll mix it. And then I'll add the rest. And we'll have our final batter. Direction number 6 says to oil or butter a baking pan and pour in the batter. So I chose to oil my baking pan. You can use oil or you can use butter to get it greasy. And the reason for that is so that when your bread is finished, it won't stick to your pan. Now you can use a round baking pan, you can use a rectangular, you can use a square, anything that you have at home. And we're going to now pour in the batter. So this is our finished batter after we mixed in all the ingredients from the 3 bowls, from the 2 bowls into the 3rd bowl. And this is our final batter. And all I used to mix it was my large spoon. And now I'm going to pour it, the batter, into my baking pan. So direction number 7 says to bake for 45 to 60 minutes or until a toothpick inserted in the center comes out clean. So this is our batter in our baking pan that's ready to be baked in our oven for 45 to 60 minutes, and then we will have our delicious orange poppy seed bread. So the timer went off after 45 minutes, and I took out the bread, and I'm going to insert the toothpick, and the bread is done because no batter comes on the toothpick. Could try it again in the center. Yep, the bread is done. There's no batter on the toothpick, which means it's done. I'm going to set it aside to cool down and enjoy it for snack tomorrow. So here is my orange poppy seed bread ready to be enjoyed. I'll start with a little piece. Looks very nice and moist.